We are the DFPN. Always question the answers.
No Gimmicks Podcast, and we bring it to you. Every time we turn live, man, you know it's the truth. Every after show, moving down, it's the time to move around. No Gimmicks Podcast is going down. Every night, every time in the ring, this is the time for the No Gimmicks, no, we doing our thing. What's your state of mind, state of mind? Moving down a statement when we take the line. This is exactly wrestling the state design. When you see Stone Cold like me, with the stunner in the world, exactly, man, what we bring. Every night we move like Brock Lesnar, the F5, no gimmicks. We take you to your limit, what's the feeling? When we live in the air, you know we on, it's the time. Guarantee we move, you know how we respond. The state is mine, the state design when we feel it. Moving down, what's the healing? No gimmicks is the feeling.
Yo, what is up, people? Welcome back to the No Gimmicks Podcast here on the DFPN. We got a good show for you guys tonight. It's Thursday. You know what that means. We're back talking MPX. We haven't talked this in a couple of weeks, so I'm really excited. Some great stuff happened while we were not broadcasting the services. Yep. So we're here. We got this card this weekend. I'm really excited to talk about because, man, there's some phenomenal stuff going on. We got some good stories coming out of the last couple of weeks. As always, my co-host, Matt, the Choice Andrews. Welcome back, sir. How you been?
Man, I know it's been a long 2 weeks without the No podcast here. It's just, man, life, right?
Yeah.
Life gets in the way sometimes, man, but happy to be back. Definitely got a lot to talk about, not just in the world of mainstream, but also in the world of MPX, of course. So
Yep. Now, I do want to say, one of those weeks, you were like, hey, man, I can't be live this week. We got some stuff going on that I got to tend to. I was like, okay, cool. Handle your business. Lo and behold, popped up with a surprise MPX show with a free stream. That was dope. What led to that? Was it just a test?
Yeah, absolutely. Just a test stream. That was a result of us just trying to see what happens if we pop up random shows during the week. People we end up getting to follow. Also try to increase the viewership a little bit, right? Get some more eyes on it. And also give students a chance to kind of showcase what they've been training and what they've been working on.
Awesome, man. That's dope. I was surprised because I was like, oh, wasn't expecting that on a Thursday. But yeah, there were some people I hadn't seen, but these were students, right?
Yeah, some students and a couple of people from other promotions as well that just happened to come in the area and train and all that. I got to tell you, I was a huge fan of that main event that night with the Anaconda. That was great and an honor for me to referee that whole show, but definitely an honor to referee that match. I've never reffed an official capacity in a show before, but. And there's going to be people that hate me for saying this, but like with ring announcing and stuff, I kind of just watch what the pros do, and I just do that.
Like, I mean, that works.
It's
works.
Crazy. I've had people ask me before, like, who taught you how to do ring announcing or anything like that. I'm like, nobody really taught me. I just saw people like the Fink, or I saw people like Dave Penzer doing W announcements and stuff, and I was like, that's cool. And then me being a 9 through 13-year-old kid, anytime I heard my favorite wrestler's music come on, I'd go, now coming to the ring, weighing in at this, like I would just do it. So I mean, that's it. Sometimes it's not. It doesn't have to be rocket science. It doesn't have to be big.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
but
that's cool.
I feel bad having it as that, like nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, I just do it.
That's cool that you bring that up because, like, I love your announcing, but now it begs the question, like, who do you draw your inspiration from the most? Because there's certainly now that you mentioned, there's a little bit of Fink in there. There's certainly a little bit of I even sense a little bit of Justin Roberts, how you drag out the announcing of certain people, Like
Yeah.
there's certain people, there's a distinct way you announce them, like demo, right? So
Yes.
where do you draw that from?
So I draw inspiration from a lot of different places, right? I draw inspiration in the actual announcing part from both Justin Roberts and Mike Rome. I
Hmm.
love I love the emphasis they put on certain words. I love how they can kind of give somebody a personalized feel without altering their style too much, right? Um,
Right,
Samantha Irvin can personalize somebody's introduction, but it changes her natural style, right? You hear
right.
Chelsea Green, a little bit of that comes through in Grimy when I
Yeah,
announced Golden Gray, right? And then really the original inspiration, because I grew up mostly watching WCW, a little bit
hmm.
of WF stuff early, so obviously the Fink is there, but Dave Pinzer was my ring announcer, honestly, to start off with. And when I first started off at Destiny the previous year, the first match I announced, I said, "Your opening contest at Destiny," and that came from Pinzer.
Yeah, yeah.
Say that at Starcade, and that's where that came from. And then uh, if you're ever there live or whatever, and you're kind of paying attention to what I'm doing over on the sidelines or by the announcers and stuff, I learned so much about keeping involved and keeping engaged from Samantha Irvin because she watches and she reacts. Um, and I think that helps bring out the emotion in the crowd when you've got somebody. And we saw Mike Rome do it on Tuesday. We saw Mike
Hmm. The
do it when,
look on his face. Yeah,
yeah, when Stephanie Vaquer lost the
yeah,
NXT Women's Championship, and it cut to such a perfect moment
it
because
did.
everybody in the arena, nobody saw it coming. And so to go over, cut over, and see the ring announcer also just enjoying it as a fan, I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, most definitely, man. That's cool that you bring that up because I did want to jump into the outside stuff real quick. And the loss from Stephanie Vaquer kind of rocked the world because no one saw this coming, especially after Battleground.
Oh
So
yeah,
her and Jordan Grace had a phenomenal match, and
yeah,
she comes out the victor, and then she loses to JC Jane that following Tuesday. No one saw that coming. That was a crazy moment.
absolutely. And I get where the internet wrestling community people have a gripe with that, right? Because like, oh man, you're saying JC Jane beat her, but Jordan Grace couldn't, and Jordan Grace is subjectively, objectively, arguably, a much better competitor, obviously, than JC Jane, right? Um, but the whole idea behind what we do in professional wrestling is to keep it unpredictable. Uh,
Mm, good,
like
yeah,
you don't like having a jobber thing. You want the illusion that anybody can win on any given night. And we got that finally. And we didn't see it on Raw, right? We saw Tozawa going up against Rusev, right? Where okay, he's in there to lose, right? And you
right.
about JC Jane going in there. It's like, okay, great, here we go. Another jobber, another person coming in to just, lose to Stephanie, kind of build her up. No, they threw you a curveball. And now you're like, okay, I got to see what else is coming down the pipeline for this.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a fan.
You know what? Immediately I did question it because I was like, dang, it's just like, dang, like she just beat Jordan and she loses this week. On that front, I was surprised. I was like, I did not see that coming. And my look was the face of everybody. I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah.
what
But I
what
mean,
just happened?
and storyline wise, I suppose it makes sense, right? Having just come off of that ridiculous match against Jordan Grace on Saturday. And then it also took 3 women to beat Stephanie.
True.
It took a Jasmine Nix interference. It took Fallon Gray doing that 619 around the ring post, and it took JC Jane doing her finishing move. I mean, it took a superhuman effort to be able to dethrone Vaquer.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And the speculation now is that she's gonna be called up. She's not gonna be in NXT anymore. So is Jordan. That's a speculation.
So,
So
and I get it, right? Like, they're superstars. They deserve to be up there, especially with this new purchase of AAA, with
Mhm.
all of this stuff. They want to showcase the absolute best that they've got and whatever. But like, you're not doing NXT any favors,
Mm.
I thought. Um, I feel like sometimes the superstars move through NXT a little too fast. I see a lot of people asking for Oba Femi to be called up.
That
I think
I'm one of those.
right, and I think
I'm one of them.
the main roster, but at the same time, I I feel like he might get lost in the shuffle, right? Like, there's the main event scene is Bloodline, is Cody, it's Seth,
Mhm.
and it's Punk, and throwing Oba in there doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. Now, if you were going to make him the third member of Rollins' group, okay, sure. I
Ooh.
not a place where he has to be the star, has to carry the show or anything like that. But he's in a role that he can be comfortable with. He's an enforcer. He's a pusher. Not that Bronson Reed's not, because that's an awesome choice. I like
You
that.
have two though. That
Yeah, but
you've given me a great idea here.
I know, right? But Oba is there's still so many competitors for him down in NXT to be able to take on. So I think it's okay to keep him down there, and I think it was okay to keep Vaquer down there. But if they're gonna move her up, I guess that's fine. I don't necessarily see a spot for her unless they try to resurrect the women's tag team division.
I don't think. Well, they may be doing that, but with Stephanie, I think they already did a test run with her because she
No,
was on Raw for a couple of weeks,
and she
and
res-
the crowd really loved her on Raw. So I think if they do call her up, she'll be going to Raw because people absolutely loved her. But I agree with you there up to a point. I do think you can overstay your welcome in NXT. I think Oba's on the verge of that. And that's what I'm afraid of, that he'll be there and he'll be dominant for so long, because what happens is you have a guy like Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes was in NXT for a while, even Trick Williams, but now they figured out that deal with TNA, the partnership with TNA actually works for them in NXT.
yes.
So I do feel like Carmelo kind of overstayed his welcome. And once he got to the main roster, it was just like, okay, what do we do with him? But they had something with him, and then they're not striking while the iron's hot. And I think they've had that problem since people like Karrion Kross. Like Karrion Kross, they didn't strike while the iron was hot with him. So when he got to the main roster and they changed his entire thing, like it
But
just fell flat.
yeah, I liken it more to Asuka, who went on
Yeah.
long tear, but she legitimately did beat every woman there was in NXT. Like, there was literally
Right.
left. They sent her off with this great farewell and all that, but then, like you said, they didn't strike while the iron was hot. They didn't continue that on the main roster. They did to an extent, and then they just kind of let it drop off a little bit. They had so much to
Right.
keep telling this story with Asuka being a complete monster, um, and it just didn't necessarily work. I'm really hoping we get that when she comes back, though.
Me too. I miss Oscar. I
Yeah,
really do. She was incredible. She still is incredible. But
sure.
yeah. But and that's my worry. And I guess that's like that goes back to the black and gold days, right? When
Yep.
people from NXT get called up, it kind of falls flat. And I don't want to see that, but there is a certain thing, like you can overstay your welcome in NXT for whatever reason. Like you could be there too long, like people like Tyler Breeze, like was
Yeah.
good in NXT, but he stayed there too long.
Yeah.
So I don't want to see that, especially with people like Vaquer and
Mhm.
Jordan Grace. Even though I do think they're doing with her what they did with Kevin Owens. And even Kevin Owens kind of struggled. He got hot in the beginning, but he kind of cooled off a bit once they took the Universal title off of him. But up until that point, he was flying high. So
Right, and we have a new person at the head of Control, right? So it's not Vinnie Mac booking this. So obviously,
yeah, true.
Asuka's fall, Kevin Owens' fall, it was all a Vince McMahon kind of thing. Now they got to rise again and all that, but you definitely knew that there was a point when they got up to the roster and you could tell Vince didn't know.
Like, oh no.
Yeah.
This isn't the person I fell in love with.
Right.
Oh no. But yeah. What's up, Nightmares and Nerdscapes? Welcome, buddy. He said the issue is not with enhancement talent doesn't exist on the main level, on the main rosters. So well, he said win or loss doesn't carry storyline implications. That's pretty true.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly true. I mean, it exists for, like we said, we saw Tozawa in there, right? He's your loser gimmick, but really all of Alpha Academy ends up being your jobber gimmick. But
true.
Yeah, it's true. There's no squash matches anymore. I don't necessarily mind the fact that there's no squash matches, but I don't know. In the women's division, you see somebody like Mi Shin, who unfortunately gets relegated to the one taking the loss all the time, right? Or it was Dakota Kai. Make somebody look good. Dakota Kai was very Dolph Ziggler. Put in there to make somebody look really good, but always would lose.
Yeah.
You need more. It's weird to say. You need more Dolph Zigglers. You need more really good losers. And
who can look good losing?
You made two good losers into champions in Chelsea Green and Zelina Vega. They were your two.
Oh, yes.
But now they're the winners, and so it's a weird thing, right?
But I think those two particularly were they're products of the crowd, right? Because the crowd, once they fall in love with them, like it kind of like people were happy for Zelina and Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, you like to see it, but it's almost, is it too much?
Sure.
Because they've made belts they made like mid card belts for the women. Like I like seeing it, but it's like, okay, are we taking stuff away here? You know what I mean?
85th iteration of Michin and so yeah, I mean, like I'd rather see somebody like Alba Fire or Piper Niven actually go for it,
Yeah.
But they're relegated to that Hervis thing, which gets Chelsea over, but I don't know how much it's really doing for Alba and Piper.
Right. And especially because like when Pure Fusion Collective was a thing, they're not anymore. But like when they were a thing, it was like them versus Damage Control was the thing that everybody they just went back to because really they didn't have anything else. But now it's like, what do you do now? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Blow it out.
Sorry. So yeah. But I do want to go to AEW real quick because they had a really good pay-per-view this past weekend. And it feels like the momentum is starting to turn a little bit. They're picking up some steam. Double or Nothing was a really good card. I don't know if you've seen the clips going around, but they had one match that I really wasn't expecting to be good at all. That was just phenomenal. That was Anarchy in the Arena.
Oh,
like that match was crazy. It was crazy, chaotic, but awesome in the same way.
Well, I think it evoked a lot of kind of old school ECW kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
You had New Jack coming out in his theme.
Yeah.
Time, which was great, or Sandman coming out and his theme playing the entire time. That's great. The problem, and I say problem, it's not really a problem, but like if that's going to be kind of one of those things that like you never see that in WWE, right? That's right. Special, but you can't, like, I hope they don't run it into the ground, right? Like I don't want to see the annual Anarchy in the Arena, right? Where it's like, okay, here it comes.
We know what's coming. Yeah.
Right.
That's how I was this year. I was like, I know what's coming. This is going to be crazy. This is like the third year in a row, but I was really pleasantly surprised with this match. I was like, this is actually pretty good. And then by the time they got to let the bodies hit the floor and the whole arena went crazy, I'm like, okay, this is different. I like it. I like it a lot. But I'm with you, man. Like I'd rather not see this every year because my expectation.
Right. And not to run it back to WWE, but I think we're seeing that with the whole War Games thing.
Yep.
Because they're not doing War Games for Survivor Series anymore. It stayed its course. It had a 4 or 5 year run, if that.
Yeah.
Not even counting back to the NXT stuff, but like it's one of those, yeah, it got really predictable, right? It's like, oh, hi, look at that. There's 3 people going against 4 people. I wonder what could happen when a fourth person comes out randomly and joins them. Oh, wait, war games, right? Right.
Yeah, yeah,
So I hope that they change up the dynamics of Anarchy in the Arena, right? So that was what, 4-on-4 is what it was this last time.
yeah.
See them change it to something where it's like a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-2, or even if they run the whole um, literal dark match, right? What was it? The empty arena match or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The concept, they tweak it a little bit so that it's not so predictable.
Right.
Because again, we like unpredictable stuff.
Yep, exactly. I agree with that. Let's go to the comments real quick. Thank
Sure.
y'all for tuning in, man.
Yeah.
Nightmares and Nerdscape says they need to start paying local indie wrestlers to come on and take bumps for the bigger stars, give the indie promotion a rub, and give your guys a dominant win without damaging other established stars.
Well, right. And we saw what with AOP, right? When they
Mhm.
years ago when they took out on Raw, Barrett Brown and Izzy James.
Yep.
That's awesome. We even saw it with when Kevin and Randy were supposed to team together last year, right? And then Randy was there. They brought up the bald guy, right? Now that
Yep.
guy.
Yep. I you know what? I like seeing it because especially if I know the people, because when I look up and I see people I know and like I'm like, oh yay, he made it. It's like it's cool for me. But I'm
Sure.
like, I know he's about to get destroyed, but hey, I'm happy for him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
ROH does it, TNA does it. What I
Yep.
would love to see is if the ring announcer, and they would never do this, but if they would say representing MPX or representing,
Yeah, that'd be dope.
All Pro, because then that's how you grow your audience, right?
Yep.
Because people in the arena go, "What? What is that?" And then they go and Google their stuff, and they're like, "Oh
Gotta
my,
turn. Yep. Gotta go look for it,
yep,
and then
So-
you find out it's awesome.
yeah." So that's that would be something I would want to happen, which I suppose would never. But
One thing I don't know if I really wanted to talk about it, but I'll talk about it anyway. but
Sure,
one thing
whatever.
that everybody else is talking about is counter programming. Now we see this with the major companies. Indies kind of work together because that's how everybody survives. But what is that competition like on that level to you're making a lot of money, people are counter programming? Is it something that's good for the business, or is it something that is it petty? Because a lot of people tend to think it's petty.
So the reason people think it's petty is because each company keeps taking shots at each other, and it's like it's cheap
True.
heat, right?
True.
One of the things that I loved, and not when Eric Bischoff was talking, don't get me wrong, because
Right.
Eric Bischoff would be the petty guy, and he would take
Very
shots
much.
at WF on WCW programming. And I hated that. It made it and it backfired on him too, right?
Yep.
He tried to spoil the main event of Raw, but no, everybody turned their channels over to go do that. Like, you never want, and this is on a major scale, right? This is on a big on major programming.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you never want to give your audience a reason to go see what the other person's doing.
Right.
I liken it a lot to politics, which it's a very political thing, right? For the last, and without getting too political, but for the last like 16, 20 years or whatever, a lot of the campaigning for presidential, even senatorial candidates has been tearing the other person down.
I agree. I agree.
Just focus on the stuff that you do good, and people go like, that guy does that good, I will go support that.
Yes.
I don't need to see AEW and WWE taking shots at the other company, wink wink, nudge nudge. Like, just do your thing. Just do your thing. But you don't have to keep going for the, oh, he mentioned that moment every time.
Yep. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And just seeing what's going on now, for the most part, AEW has been quiet, and WWE has been quiet as well. But you are seeing them positioning themselves kind of like to compete against each other. And if it's one in one city, the other's in another city. One has the show one night, the other one has a show the other night. And we have a comment there that I'm going to get to.
Gotcha.
Back in the heyday, in the 80s and 90s, this type of stuff was common. It was common to see WCW, WWE running shows at the same time. It was common when Jim Crockett Promotions and WWF was running shows at the same time on the same day, maybe in different cities. But now we're getting to a point to where, like, WWE just announced they're going to be at the 2300 Arena a week before AEW is going to be there. So at that point, I'm like, are they trying to compete, or are they trying to flood the market, or is it just a coincidence? And that's where I'm at with it.
I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence. But scheduling your shows at the same time, I don't think is petty. I think that's a legit chance to, reason to try to win over your ratings, win over your demographic. I think that's fine. The petty part was really just like, everybody's praising that Tony and Mercedes promo from yesterday or the day before or whatever. But like, Mercedes was like, I've grown up too. I'm not a boss. I'm a CEO. It's like, okay, well, you're okay, cool. Like, I get it. You're casting all the stuff on all the crap on your, your WWE days or whatever.
Right.
So that's the petty part. But no, I think, it wasn't isn't WWE supposed to be running Evolution, the women's Evolution thing on the same week?
The night of All In. Yep.
Sure. I mean, yes, that sucks for people that are going to All In and want to see Evolution as well. But we're in a great day and age now where we can
pick and choose.
Yeah, pick and choose, and also go rewatch it the next day.
Yeah,
it's okay.
The only thing I didn't, so I'll compare this to to WrestleMania week, right? And I talked about this on the last episode we did, and it's no gimmicks, and it's, if I'm in a town like Vegas had wrestling all week, all day, right? And I was like, for me, if I want to go to another place, there were people that I know personally that were going and doing these shows. And I'm like, if I'm over here, but I have to be over here, I want to be able to go support them. And I was like, I hope like they work together, but I could totally understand, like, hey, this is our audience. We want to cater to our audience. We understand, like, our people are going to come watch our show. I get that.
Yep.
So I'm agreeing with you there. Let's go to the comments real quick. Nightmare says, to be fair, counter programming is what built the 90s to what they were. And I agree with that. It made for a lot of good television. It really did.
Now, if they can just stay away from calling out each other on social media or on programming, right? Like I Tony Khan going like, oh, look what our show did versus the other company. It's like, just, again, stick to your thing.
Yeah. Do you
proud of your numbers, but don't have to rub it in the face and be like, oh, the other company did this. It's like, just be proud of it.
I agree. If your show, and I do give them a little credit. I give AEW a lot of credit. They have turned their storytelling around. Their product is way much better. I appreciate it, but I'm with you. You don't have to tout it every chance you get.
Yeah.
And he said, think you have to counter program for one or the other, either weekly episode versus pay-per-views. When you're doing both, it becomes a market war, which is unfair to fans. I get that too. Then he said, you nailed it with the comment about not talking about them on screen. No snide comments. Let the audience speak for you.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
Very much agree.
Yeah. I like where AEW has kind of Wednesdays and Thursdays now. And, WWE basically has your Monday, your Tuesday, or Friday. I think that's a good balance. And I'm not counting WWE Evolve. I know I probably should, but I don't.
I don't. They're the main shows like Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Those are your shows.
Yeah.
Everything else is pretty much extracurricular because they have it.
Sure.
But I'm more interested to see how this AAA thing works out for them and where they're gonna fit that in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an entirely different beast.
Yeah.
We've got the Worlds Collide pay-per-view coming up. I'm sorry, PLE coming up. But interesting to see how they end up working it going forward, right? Because you only have so much programming. We were just talking about how much programming they have.
Yep.
Still only have so much, right? You've got 8 hours of TV to fill, 3 Raw, 3 SmackDown, 2 NXT, and you've got your own in-house people.
Yep.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Unless you're going to make, and this doesn't do AAA any good, but unless you're going to make the AAA guys the jobbers that we were talking about.
True. But you don't want to get into that situation either, because it's like,
now you're devaluing the company.
yeah, exactly. So I know they'll make it work. What I'm more one to know is if they're going to have a television show, because they haven't come out and announced that.
Sure.
And if they do, when are they going to run these shows? Because you have so much programming going on during the week. Like, when are you going to find time for AAA to come on? And what is your target audience for AAA now that you have it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it used to be you could see, things being target audience stuff, right?
Yeah.
Night Thunder, they had their own specific target audiences. Even Raw and SmackDown had their own target audiences.
Yep.
Everything is so widely accessible now that you don't necessarily have to have a target audience. Everything is for everybody.
True.
So now you're just trying to fit in more programming where you don't have room. And
right.
So, again, like you said, curious to see where that ends up going.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm just glad that AAA is getting this look, really.
Yeah. At the very least, it's very good publicity for them.
Yeah, most definitely. There's guys like Vikingo that I'm really happy for. I'm really happy for a lot of those guys.
I'm excited to see Laredo Kid, somebody who's
heck yeah. Heck yeah.
That's crazy to me. I saw him pop up on NXT. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, when they said Laredo Kid. So I wasn't paying attention. I was like halfway paying attention. Yeah. And then they said Laredo Kid. And I was like, wait, what? What? I was like, oh, that's cool. He made it. That's cool. But time has come. Let's jump into this week's MPX. Let's break down this card because, man, we got a good one.
Absolutely.
All right, man. We get this card. I've been waiting to talk about this one all week.
Yeah.
we have some storylines that we got to talk about. We have some people that we got to talk about.
Yep.
I'm gonna just jump right in.
Go for it.
Besides the main event, one of the things that I was really excited for when it got announced is Miyu Yamashita is coming to MPX. I was like, holy crap, what? And then the match got announced that it's going to be her versus Maya World. First of all, my compliments to the chef, because whoever made this matchup, chef's kiss, y'all cooked with this one. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to apologize to all of you people watching who all knew who Miyu Yamashita was. I didn't. And I'm sorry. It's because I'm a WWE guy, right? I watch right, but this is what this kind of stuff does. It makes somebody like me go look up all their stuff. I'm excited. I love seeing a good striker in there. I love seeing a good women's striker in there. That kind of stuff. Somebody who can make
My bad. Finger slip.
Right. Time to go home. All right. But I'm very excited to see the two differing styles, right?
Yep.
Maya, who is more on the technical side and kind of on the high flyer side, versus somebody like Miu, who's a striker and somebody who knows how to throw those fists and throw down like that. This should be a great meshing of styles. It'll be good. We haven't seen Maya since, gosh, probably
Angela Armstrong, right?
challenge for the women's championship,
Yep.
right? So it'll be good to see her back in there. This is a showcase match. This is one of those matches that people will watch this on YouTube and kind of look at it and go, "Where is this promotion?" And they're going to be able to see MPX, and that's why I'm excited, because somebody like Miyu Yamashita, who has a following like that, um, people will watch that and kind of get
Yep.
to where she is and what she's doing at the time. And she's even promoting it on social media too,
Yep.
which is great. I love seeing that. I love seeing when people like Richard Holiday, like Miyu, like Tommy Dreamer promoting that stuff out there, not just as a way to say like, I'm going to be here this weekend. It's just, and she was engaging. She was like, who do I have to kick at MPX? It's like, that's all.
That's awesome.
Very excited to see how these styles mesh and get together.
I am excited because I got into Joshi a couple of years ago, and one of the first people that I saw was Miyu. And so I got really familiar with her just by getting into Joshi. And I gotta thank Lyric Wrestling, because I follow her and she is really extensive on all things women's wrestling.
Sure.
So through her, I got into Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, which is where Miyu comes from.
Gotcha.
That entire promotion has some of the greatest women's wrestlers I have ever seen. I was lucky enough to catch a show of theirs in Vegas. That show was probably one of the best shows of the weekend. I'm not lying to you.
Yeah.
And every single woman on that card, banger, phenomenal. But
Sure.
Miyu, her matchup stood out to me. And so when I found out she was coming to MPX, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then to find out she's with Maya World, I was like, dude, I bought a ticket. I was like, dude, I'm coming. I put everything else on hold. Like, stop, leave me alone. I'm going to watch this match because I know it's going to be good. It is a showcase match. But if you have not heard of Miyu, please get to this. If you are an MPX addict, please hear me out on this one. Get to this show. Watch this match. You will not be disappointed. This is going to be a banger. By all means of it. It is going to be a phenomenal match. I'm out. This was the match I was more excited to talk about because I was like, man, I know people don't know about her, but when this bell rings and this match is over, you will be a fan of Miyu.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that I appreciate about independent wrestling so much.
Yep.
It causes people to wonder, who is that or where is that? And it just exposes people to a completely new audience. And
Yep.
that's one of the best things I think about independent wrestling, is that like you get to discover new stars. Richard Holiday, I was unfamiliar with his work until I wasn't even there when he came to MPX the first time. But then I him at Dragon Slayer, and then I saw him this past weekend, and like I'm a huge fan of his. I love everything that he does, and I'm so proud to see that he's in such a good mental state and he's so happy with where he is. And that's the kind of stuff I love. I get to see these people that I would never have seen otherwise, and I'm ecstatic about it.
I'm really ecstatic about that too. And yeah, Richard Holiday was one of the people I knew about too. So when he came to MPX the first time, like the crowd didn't know who he was, and I was like, "Don't worry, don't worry. By the end of this match, you're gonna know who he is. You're gonna love him." But the promo that he cut before the match, people were already gravitating towards him. I'm like, "Oh yeah, you already fans." So I'm looking at Miyu the same way. If you don't know who she is, it's okay. Just come watch this match.
Yep.
You're gonna be a fan of hers by the time the bell rings and this match is over. There may be a standing ovation at the end of this match, because I have really high hopes for this match. I really do.
Yeah, I'm very hopeful that a lot of people heed your words, and we have a whole brand new set of audience members, a whole new set of addicts to come out and see what MPX can put on any given Saturday.
Absolutely. And even if you're listening, if you can't make it to this show, like this is one of those. This is one of those. Like, get on Twitch, get on Twitch, search for Metroplex Wrestling, subscribe, watch this match. It's worth the price of entry. It's worth the subscription. Watch this match. Seriously.
Very well said. And we've got an entire night. Actually, not an entire night announced so far. We've only got a handful of matches for this card.
Wow.
Well, yeah, and they're all pretty much showcase matches, right?
Very much.
We've got to go ahead and get to the other title matches that are going to be happening, right?
Yep.
So let's talk about. I'm excited about Cavens.
Yes, Cavens and Phil Shark.
Yep, making his third title defense against Phil Shark, who won that amazing shot collar battle royale.
I like your enthusiasm.
The shot collar battle royale was a phenomenal idea on paper. I was very excited to call it, very nervous to call it. There needs to be a little refinement, admittedly, right? Because you could tell it was getting to be a little long-winded. It became more of a joke amongst the audience members, right? Where it was just kind of like the one of those like, haha, let's see, who can throw this person back in, even though they are exhausted to go back in, right? So a little refinement, a little more adjustment to the rules, but I love the concept of it. I love
too
of the addicts being able to put who they want, put their money where their mouth is, essentially.
Yep. That's a genius move. It really is a genius move.
Yeah.
Just limit the options a little bit.
Yep.
And I think it has legs. It really does have legs.
For sure.
It really does.
The winner that came out of that is the number one contender to the Prospect Championship, and that is Phil Shark. And this is going to be one of those high energy, high octane. If this were old school WCW, this would be a cruiserweight match to put your eyes on.
Absolutely. And I went to Me, You, and Maya first because it is a showcase match, but every other match on this card, it's high octane. There's high octane, high stakes all night. And that's why I'm super excited to see this card. Real quick, Nightmare says, are there any plans for MPX to put on a free promotional stream? The best thing I can tell you is go follow them on Twitch, follow them on all their social media platforms, and just stay tuned. They do pop free streams from time to time. So just stay tuned, follow them, and that way you stay in the know. But my recommendation for you guys, subscribe to Metroplex Wrestling on Twitch because the events they put on, the stories they tell, it's worth it, man. And I come on here week to week with Matt. We talk about these, but for an independent promotion to do the work that Metroplex Wrestling is doing with the stories they're telling, I'm telling you guys, it's worth it. I would not be on here as excited as I am talking about some of this stuff if I didn't believe in it. And please do yourself a favor. Subscribe to the channel. It is worth the price of subscription. You won't lose your money. They will entertain you.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate those words, Calvin. We have popped up a couple of those free streams that we have, and knowing that there's an interest, I'm sure that the powers that be would be very interested to hear that there is interest in watching a free show during the week or whatever it is, or an unplanned show. Also, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel at MPX Network. You'll see clips from previous matches uploaded. There are whole shows that have been uploaded as well. Not so much recently. There's been some copyright issues, but whatever. But there are clips up there of all the matches that we get to put up, including full commentary and sometimes full ring announcing. So, go subscribe on there if you're looking to see what we're all about.
Yep, get to know them because a few of the wrestlers actually have YouTube channels and they upload their matches too. So, if you follow Metroplex, you'll get to know some of the people, and then just follow them too because they do drop content. Mm-hmm. They're really good about that, especially Dalton Gray. Dalton Gray drops content all the time.
Yeah, which is what you need to do as an independent wrestler to build up your brand. You need to put some clips up there.
Yep.
But yeah, again, excitement about the Miyu Yamashita match because she's drawing more eyes to what MPX puts out. She's drawing more eyes to Phil Shark, who many people might not know, but who did just finish up a tour in Japan.
Yep.
Many more eyes on Dylan Cavens, who just had a banger of a match with Rich Swann. And
Yep.
we're about to see, we'll talk about them next, right? House Sagan, who you may not be familiar with, but House Sagan, those are MPX mainstays.
Yep.
Going up against probably one of the most dominant factions in North Texas right now in set 6.
We talked about. I'm super excited for this one too because we talked about this one. The tension between these two, I feel like it's finally boiled over, and I think we're getting into some good stuff with them.
That's well, and who eliminated Dave Sagan from the Shot Collar Battle Royal? That would be Tatum.
Absolutely.
So has Tatum finally had enough? What is going to become of that? We've seen for weeks since Destiny, Tatum Manning is not happy to be a part of House Sagan. And Dave knows it too, and has taken every opportunity to kind of just drill it in his head week after week after week. Finally, I guess it might have boiled over at the Shot Collar Battle Royal, right? And now they got to go up against set 6, who's probably more cohesive than they ever have been. And that's how long has set 6 been around? It's been very nearly a year at this point.
Yeah.
From its first iterations, but you've got TJ Slater and Man, two of the most underrated and under talked about talents in North Texas, and they're going to be going
very
for
much.
Tips.
TJ Slater's a monster, and Man compliments him so much because he draws the attention. They really are a solid unit.
Yeah. Very interested to see who the Addicts are going to end up being behind on this one, too. Kind of feel like they'll go behind House Sagan just because Tatum is there, and everybody can see that Tatum is not happy to be a part of House Sagan. But it'll be interesting to see.
I wonder my thing with Tatum, and I think he's starting to prove me wrong on it, is how much does the gold mean to him? And right now, he's proven me wrong because in the past, the gold is kind of steered where he go, right? Morally. I don't think that's the case anymore. The gold doesn't mean that much to him anymore.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I see where
yes and no.
But remember, the winner of that Shot Collar Battle Royale would have gotten a shot at the Prospect Championship. So maybe that was fueling him throwing.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, again, it's going to be a very interesting match, and that is also going to be a really great tag team match. If nothing else, just to see how Dave and Tatum coexist or don't.
Absolutely. Let's go to a match that we knew was coming, but now that it's here, someone should be very afraid, and that is Tommy Prince.
Oh, yeah. I love the mind games and the just the fact that all right, gonna start this over. In a baseball lineup, you've got that one slugger that isn't always going hot at the right time, but the skipper throws him in there anyway because the pitcher just goes, I can't attack this guy. I'm not gonna let him beat me. I'm gonna intentionally walk him, even if he's not going hot. Malico is that slugger.
Yes.
His last appearance was the first reveal, was the appearance 3 weeks ago to Tommy Prince. He hasn't been seen since, except it's all over Tommy Prince's face.
Exactly.
It's a phenomenal talent and a wonderful thing to have when you can live in somebody's mind rent-free. And you can make yourself known to the MPX Addicts without actually being on the show.
Absolutely. And that's like when Tommy Prince heard it, he got ghost. He got ghost immediately. So we knew it's like it's kind of like the boogeyman, right? And you know the boogeyman's coming. You see the shadow, and it's like he's slowly getting towards you, closer and closer. And then when he gets up in front of you, it's like you can't run. Now you got to face him. So I'm interested to see what Tommy's going to do in this match. Will we even see him at all?
Well, so it's funny you say that. I think we'll see Tommy. My question is, were we going to see the rest of the Scorn?
Ooh.
And what is the rest of the Scorn going to do? Because there's been some issues.
There's been some tension, yes,
caused by Malico, right?
Yep.
but it's led to a little bit of high tension, like you said, between the Scorn. So I just want to see what it is that the Scorn ends up doing. Are they going to come out and side with their brother Tommy, or throw us a curveball? Has the Demented One gotten in the heads of anybody else in the Scorn?
Maybe they let him get his comeuppance. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, very interested to see. And again, for the storyline, right? This is what we
Yep.
see. We're very excited about that. And then
Very much.
I think that leaves us with one more announced match that we've got here, Calvin.
Yep. And this is another one. This is another one I was really excited for. And it's because I think Brick he's got it on his mind. He has not forgotten what happened to him with that title, with the prospect title. He has not forgotten that defense number 4 and what happened in that match. And I keep saying him, sorry, Brick. It's they.
Yeah.
So I think they will have it on their mind, man. You know, I gotta get my revenge. This is my opportunity. He's been a dominant champion. Demo has. Right now he's in Phoenix, living the life. I saw he was at the Kendrick concert. He ain't worried about nothing. So what's gonna happen here?
This is a story that is, we talk about the storylines at MPX, right? With them being week to week. You can say this story is 5 months in the making, but if you want to draw it out, this story is 20 weeks, 25 weeks in the making.
Yep.
That is an absurdly long time to be harboring a grudge. Especially in the world of professional wrestling, where you go back and forth to so many different promotions and you go towards it. But the World Breaker is here to take that championship from Demo, like he was going to at the start of the year.
Yep.
So whatever Brick does, they're doing it with malice in their heart, and they are not doing it for the MPX Addicts to relieve them of Demo's title reign. No, Brick Savage, no, they're doing it for themselves.
Yes. And I like that Brick is taking advantage of this, right?
Yeah.
Because they've just waited their opportunity, waited for their time, and now it's here. And now I think Demo got caught in a comfortable state. He's comfortable. He wasn't really worried about much. And I'm kind of worried for him, honestly.
So you say that, but you've also said, Kelvin, that man is playing.
He plans crazy.
And if you don't think that Demo Dice has a plan in store for the World Breaker, you've got another thing coming. There's always something up the sleeve of either Demo or Jamie Aller.
This is very, very true. Very true.
Yeah. So,
very true.
But at the same time, whatever kind of violence Brick ends up inflicting, I'm all for it.
I'm very much for it. I'm very much for it. So this is a match I've been waiting for because I remember the last encounter between these two. And one, it was a very good match. Two, the ending of that match very much warranted. We need to run this back. So I'm happy that they're running it back, and I'm happy that it's for the MPX title. So of the announced matches, this card is already stacked, and you're telling me there's more.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. So what is that? That's 5 matches, 6
5 matches. Yep.
Yeah, matches. That leaves room for at least 2 to 3 more.
If you stopped right there, this is a great night. I'm actually like, what else? You don't even have to announce it, because these 5, I'm in the building. I'm in the building for these 5.
And I think the powers that be, when they made these matches, they knew that, right? And so this is a great opportunity again for Metroplex Wrestling to kind of give fans, kind of show them, this is what we can do. This is what can happen every single Saturday that you come up here.
Yep. Thank you for the sub, man. Appreciate you.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. That's somebody subbed on a show that I was on. Great job. Uh,
Thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. But yeah, man, this card is going to be crazy, and I love the title of this card because last week you had X'd out, which is it was a great card last week.
mhm.
Good matches, but this one we all get a little mad.
Yeah.
With these matches, they are the event center this weekend is going to be a madhouse, and I love it.
Yes, hoping to see all of our wonderful addicts out there. Again, and I don't even know what this early access match is going to be, but if you're in the area, make sure you add that early access pass onto your ticket, get in the doors 15 minutes before everybody else, and get an exclusive match all to yourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then we want to thank our sponsors, of course, Sauce. I gotta thank you, Calvin, the No Gimmicks podcast, for continuing to put up fantastic stuff regarding MPX and continuing to support us.
Absolutely.
But yeah, 510 Harwood Road every single Saturday night. You'll come out and see us.
Absolutely. And let's get into the final shots and thoughts. Anything else you want to leave the people with?
I mean, I did just change my Instagram handle from what I used to be, right? I used to do beer blogs and stuff.
Yeah.
Pandemic, when that's really all I had to do was drink beer. I don't do much of that anymore. So now this is going to be my Instagram is a much more wrestling oriented handle. It is my name, The Choice Matt Andrews. So if you could, guys, please give me a follow on there. I will be posting about all the shows that you'll find me at, posting my MPX minutes, my recaps as much as I can, and promoting, of course, the No Gimmicks podcast whenever I'm on.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you spreading the word like that. And it's not just MPX that he announces for. He actually does some work with some other promotions. Some that I want to cover eventually on the show. So shout out to all those promotions, man. Especially Hot Wrestling up in Waco.
Down there in Waco, running about once a month. We got a shout out to DFW All Pro, another one of the staples in North Texas. If there was a WWE and AEW of North Texas, it would be MPX and DFW All Pro. And
that's no lie.
Happen to be very fortunate to be able to kind of be the in-arena voice of both of those companies. And of course, Dragon Slayer Pro right now running about once every 3 months. But again, very proud to be part of what they're building and what they're doing. And I love seeing more promotions getting popped up. I think there might be a point where there's oversaturation, but maybe not in North Texas. There's a lot of promotions down in South Texas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston. But I like the fact that we're developing our own little scene up here in North Texas. So shout out to Iron Warrior Pro.
Absolutely.
Their show in August in Denton. And if there's any place that needs a wrestling show, it is Denton, freaking Texas.
It's crazy because I saw Iron Pro pop up, and I was like, Denton, huh? And it makes sense because that the college up there, like, you can get a lot of people into a show because a lot of those kids are out there. Yeah. So I love that idea. Shout out to them.
Yep. So it's a good time to be a wrestling fan, Kelvin. That is for
very much. The business is very much booming right now. Yeah. And I love it. As a wrestling fan, I love seeing it because it gives me something to do. It really does. So I appreciate it. I like the quality, and everybody that you mentioned puts on quality work. So please, if you heard him, there's a lot of good wrestling, especially in North Texas. So yeah, go support. Support.
My gosh. All right. I know we got like a minute and a half left. Of course, it's your podcast, so whatever time.
Come on.
Izzy James, the Gutter Snake. Congrats
on the title.
The first ever NWA Texas champion, the Gutter Izzy James, my MPX brother who started that company with me. We were on the first show of that together. We were on the first Dragon Slayer show together. And just the amount of pride I feel for Izzy James for as long as I've known him, through the roof right now. And
absolutely.
I got congrats and props to him for NWA putting their trust in him to carry the Texas Championship.
very much a congratulations. I saw that and I am very much happy for him. Yes, he is an MPX day oneer, man. So very much congratulations. That is a good look. I hope you bring that title up here sometime.
I know that he would love to take it on a tour. That's for sure.
I know he would. Come show it off, man. But yeah, very much congratulations. And once again, guys, 510 Harwood Road, Bedford, Texas. Get there, please get there Saturday. You will not be disappointed. It is a show that you need to attend. I know I say this every time that we're on here, but I really mean it this week. Get to this show. You will not be disappointed. If you can't, do like Nightmares and Nerdscapes did. Go subscribe to Metroplex Wrestling. And he said he did it despite your involvement. So get there. If you can't, subscribe, watch the show, come back. Let's talk about it next week. Thank you all for tuning in. Matt, thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for coming on.
Always, Calvin. Very happy to discuss wrestling with you any day of the week, brother.
Always, sir. Always. But until next time, guys, enjoy yourself. Take care of each other. Enjoy what you're going to enjoy. Peace.
See you.
And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmicks.